I'm going to go ahead and calculate all three of the stock valuations that we're going to see in the chapter on stock valuation. But I'm going to start, whereas our book starts at the end at the zero growth, I'm going to start with a preferred or zero growth stock, stock A. And I'm going to migrate to the constant growth stock, stock B. And then I'm going to end with a non-constant stock, which will be stock C. Now, when we're doing these problems, for the most part, especially when we're doing the first two, no real calculators required. They're really simple math, just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So I can do it with an Excel spreadsheet. Only the third one requires some type of financial calculator. I'm going to go ahead and use the Excel function only, but I'm only going to be calculating NPV. So you can review however you calculate net present value, and that's how you'll calculate the answer for your non-constant stock. In addition, if you're using the app on the phone, the FN calculator, it actually has this app that you just put this data right on in and it gives you the answer, which is a really handy app for students. When we're answering these questions, all we need to know is the data over here. We need to know, was it a just paid stock or D0 or a dividend? Was it a D1, a dividend 1 year from now? What is the RS, the required rate of return for the stock based upon the capital asset pricing model? What is the constant growth rate? Is it growing in a non-constant growth rate, and for how many years? Therefore, we can determine the par value. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw out some of these pictures. So this first one right here, this picture, this work here, this first one right here, I'm going to try to draw the best I can, is basically saying what is the par value of this stock right here, given that you are being paid $4 for the year. So since dividends are usually paid quarterly, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're getting paid $1 for each quarter, a total of $4. And we have determined, based upon the capital asset pricing model, your return has to be 10%. Well, the par value is really simple in this case. The P0 or par value is nothing more than the dividends that you're being paid per preferred stock divided by the RS. Therefore, if we look right here on this cell here, it's $40. I've already done the math here for you. Basically, it's the $4 divided by the 10%, and if you do that math, you will get $4. And since I'm on the drawing mode, I can't show you the formula up here. I've already done it up here, and I'll show you that here in a moment. Now, the second one, now we have a stock that has some growth to it. And we'll see what data we have. Well, we have D0 was $1, and I already calculated D1 for us. D0 was $1. Our required rate of return is 12%, and it's constantly growing at 7%. So if I now use the model P0 equals D0, 1 plus G, RS minus G, the formula from the Gordon model, you can see that if I multiply $1 by 1.07, I did it here, I'll have $1.07 on top. And then down here, RS is 12, and the constant rate is 7%, so 0.12 minus 0.07 is a 0.05. And if I did the formula right, we can check here in a moment. Like I said, I'll check right now. I'm in a drawing mode. We should get the $21.40. Again, it's a plug and chug. You have to ask yourself, D0, D1, what is RS, and what is G? Now, here's the more complicated one. I'm going to draw this one out, and then we're going to actually do it. I'm going to see if I can get some room right here. I'm going to do this. What it's saying is that the stock just paid $1, and it's going to grow for 3 periods. It's right here at, well, I didn't write 3 periods, but we'll put it right here, for 3 periods at 30%. So it's going to grow at 30% for period 1, period 2, and period 3, and then it's going to go back to a normal rate of 8%. Therefore, what would we pay for it right here is what the question would be, and we have an RS of 15%. I'm going to put my 15% right here. So what I have to do is I have to calculate each of the growth rates, kind of like what we did here. I took D0 and made it D1. Well, I have to do the same thing here. I have a D0, and I have to find out what D1 is. And I've already calculated that. I'm going to do it a different color because it's getting a little busy here. So if I multiply $1 by 30% or 1.30, I get $1.30. And I have to do it again here, so I multiply $1.30 by 1.30, just like we did once here, and I'm going to get $1.69. And I've got to do it one more time right here, so if I multiply it, I should get around 219 and some change. I'm just going to round up to about 220. And I just multiplied this number here by the 1.30. And if we look at 220, it's 220. At 220, it grows at 8%. So now I have to just multiply it by 8%, and I should get a $2.37 somewhere in that area here. Now something is interesting here, because if we eliminate all of this and just look at this last period, it's actually just like this model here. So if I take, and we'll just consider this first dividend after it goes constant is like D1. So if I take the 237 and divide it by the growth in the RS, I can find out the stock's value here, the terminal value as we call it. So if I divide, and it's 15% minus 8% is 0.07%. And if I do this, which is just this calculation on that last period, I should get about $33.90. So now if we take a look at it, I have a few things here. I have, let's do blue here. I have a cash flow at the first period and the second period, and 2 cash flows at the third period. Now I cannot put 2 cash flows in the same one, so to keep it simple, I'm just going to add them together. So if I add $33.90 to 220, I should get $36.10. And now all we have to do is plug and chug in the calculator. So let me go back here. Let me get out of this mode here and go up here to home. And now I can go ahead and plug and chug. I'm going to go ahead and go to formulas and finance. And like I said, I'm going to use the NPV function right here. And all I have to do is, well, let's put it in the window. I don't know where it disappeared off to. Recently used, I'll just do NPV again here. NPV, MN, there it is right there. And now I can just pull it across here, and my rate is my RS, which was 15%. And then I'm going to put value number 1, which we calculated as $1.30. And I've got value number 2, which was $1.69. And I've got value number 3, which is the combination of the 220 and the 33.90, which is our terminal value, which is 36.10. And now we have our answer. Hit OK. And here it is. Make it a little larger for you to see. It's $36.10. And let's click here. And you can see earlier I was saying I just took this one here. I just divided the $4 by the 10%. There it is, B5 divided by B6. And this one right here, I just took the D1 and divided it by the difference between 12 and 7 right here, with difference between the 6 and 7. And I got that number. So that's how we do all 3 of our stock valuation models. So I hope that helps for this week. Now that we're finished with all that pain of doing everything by hand, let me use the application and verify our 2 answers. And I'm going to go here to stock calculator. I'm going to go to the constant growth model, and we had a D, it was a D0 of $1. I had to change the D0. And we had an R growth rate of, I believe it was 7%, and a required growth rate of 12%. And we should have get the same answer, and I believe $21.40 is the correct answer. Let me back out, and let's do that last one, the non-constant, the one that really hurt. And I believe that one had a dividend of $1, and required rate of return based on the cap M was 15, and then it had 3 periods of growth of 30%. And then it went back to a constant growing of 8%. And if I calculate that one, you should get the $26.14. Much easier. So you can calculate using this website much quicker. And there's some other neat things on this website that would help you. Here's your capital asset pricing model calculator. You can use this as well. So I hope this helps. After watching it all done by hand, it really makes this website really makes light work of a lot of mathematics.